Remember when I told you guys that the gaming market is very saturated? There is no game maker, publisher, developer that is safe from exactly what the gaming industry right now is going through. There is an economy that's weird. There's a behavior of gamers that's weird. There's an expectation from 2020 that we're no longer in that's weird. And most game developers and publishers are seeing that their games, yes, they may have pretty much dominated the market over years, but if you look at what's been going on, the growth and the availability of games has skyrocketed. I mean, think about, say, when the Nintendo Switch came out around 2017. Am I sure about that? I mean, somebody help me in the comment section, but I think it's 2017. There were only 7,000 games that came out on Steam, actually below 7,000. As of now, as we're speaking and talking about this video, let me refresh that page because there might have been some releases. This algorithm may have gone up. There are 15,652 games on Steam alone. Now, not saying that all these games are available everywhere, but you can see how that number is more than likely also translated to other consoles. As Nintendo itself being somewhat separate, it allows third-party publishers to also come on their platform, which has enabled some other third-party games to go on there, including some indies like Choo Choo Charles, which is a phenomenon that did very well across the board in terms of sales. But again, that aside, what I want to show you this morning is that the market forces and vulnerability doesn't care who you are, whether you're Nintendo or not. Tom Henderson writes here on his Twitter page, Nintendo has cut its Switch sales projection for the financial year amid a decline in both hardware and software sales this quarter. Nintendo says it still plans to announce its Switch successor by the end of March 2025. When you look at what's going on here, when you look at, say, at the end of the day, the market and the way things are changing, you can't evade it. You can't run away from the reality that right now everyone has to do things extraordinarily to be able to see results and to be able to yield better gains, better profits, and so on and so forth. And this market saturation and consumer behavior, in my opinion, is something that I've talked about extensively. I mean, we talked about it in this channel. You can't necessarily, go ahead and say, well, Nintendo is somewhat separate. And yeah, they make themselves separate, but still they're not separate from the market. They're still right here with us. There really isn't anything that separates them from economic realities. Now, for a brand proposition, from a brand perspective, yes, you will see that, okay, yeah, they're doing their own thing over there, which is great. They do things a specific way. PlayStation was doing the same thing. I don't know if anybody realizes by 2017 PlayStation was pretty much in the exact same place for the most part as Nintendo was. All it took was pretty much just, a few years, and the entire game has changed. I mean, think about it again. Let's go back and look at exactly what I'm showing you here. So look at this. Look at this saturation in the market, right? Look at 2017. The market is ramping up. Actually, the market was ramping up around 2016. So 2013, PlayStation is pretty much almost 100% exclusive all the way through about 2017 or so. And then as time starts going on, they eventually drop exclusivity. And before you know what's going on, almost the entire slate of PlayStation games are now available on PC. Keep in mind, somewhere around even this time, the transition is going on. MLB requires that their game be everywhere. So now, not only is PlayStation pretty much agreeing to that, because they did, and I know someone's going to say, well, MLB wanted it that way. Well, PlayStation is a Sony company that, could have made its own independent, decision, right? This is Sony that walked away, and I've said this is my example. They walked away from the negotiating table with Disney when Disney was not giving them some of the things they wanted for the Avengers collaboration they wanted to do with Spider-Man. So how does that same PlayStation pretty much allow for MLB to bully them into bringing their games to not only one platform, but two platforms, and not just one or two platforms, but also day one on a service like Game Pass, which is crazy, right? So you got to think about all of this and say, oh, okay. It will be a stretch to think that PlayStation did not gladly accept the terms, because not only have they accepted the terms, they've then since made multiple other games that have followed the exact same suit, which San Diego Studios is developing. And that is because of this market shift. And I've always said that Nintendo is nowhere immune from this reality. it comes in place. Now, this is not the first time that they've probably seen some, changes in terms of cutting projections. I'm not saying that this means Nintendo is gonna be dead. I'm not. No. Please, I do not want to see that comment from somebody that's gonna misinterpret what it is that I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is you're seeing the economic reality here. You'll see it. And if this economic reality is being caused by something that is persistent or something that we're constantly talking about, for example, availability of games everywhere, too many games, third-party, publishers getting more and more, speedier in their development and the way that they actually are able to bring games to audiences, then I think Nintendo is probably in a place where their business model probably needs to adapt. And it will adapt. It definitely has to adapt. There's no doubt about that. They have to actually come to a place where they're willing to say, okay, let's make some moves, of which they already had been. They've kind of put themselves in a really interesting position where their games can go on mobile right now. I mean, the new phones that are available in the market, they have the capacity to be able to run Nintendo games without any problems. So I don't think we're going to have too much of an issue seeing how this is definitely something that, Nintendo can pretty much put into play and eventually start making more money. You got to get out of your platform. You got to get your software to other places. You may sell 140 million, units of your software, but if you're not, of your hardware, but if software is not getting sold at a, and I'm not talking just getting sold, but at an alarming rate, then, your profits are pretty much going to sit in one specific place. But like I've said always, Nintendo has a very interesting secret, which is them being able to go ahead and, make their games which don't necessarily seem to require a lot of production cost. But think about it too. Their games are expensive. Their own audiences, just recently had been talking about, okay, what are we even paying Nintendo for? And once your customers start questioning price, it's only a matter of time. And I think the reason they're questioning prices is simply because they also can get games in other places that are not as expensive, or those games go on sale and they seemingly meet the exact same expectation and the exact same, itch that they have. So this is what economics looks like. It will put you in a place where you'll be cutting your sales progression, your sales, predictions if you don't pay very close attention to the market. And so even with this, they're still going to go ahead and announce their Switch. They're confident in their product, don't get me wrong. But what is it going to look like for a lot of players who look and say, why should I be buying another, Nintendo Switch hardware when I already have this? There's going to be that, push and pull. Now, some will buy, but again, there's hardware everywhere. And, I guess they'll want to see the proposition first to know exactly why they should buy the Switch hardware. But we'll see. I mean, I think Nintendo should be fine, but I'm not, and I can't be convinced that the market forces, is not going to affect them. I mean, obviously, it was market forces that brought them to the place where they had to innovate and bring out the Switch and pretty much own the generation at the end of the day. So that's my, my own opinion on this, and those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully, we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.